It is often said that the roof of the law covers us all. It applies to everyone, but it also protects everyone. Unfortunately, the concept, justice for all, for many of us, is a far cry from reality.
I'm Mike Moore. Over the course of today's program, we'll discover how the promise of justice for all has been broken and what we can do to mend it. The phrases lawsuit and legal situation tend to evoke thoughts of serious crimes, the high-profile celebrity cases that are constantly flooding our airwaves, or large corporations fighting for ownership. I was personally part of one of these high-profile cases not too long ago. In 1994, as Attorney General of my state of Mississippi, I filed the first case against the tobacco industries of this country. I'll never forget the fact I showed up at the first time we had a court hearing, and there were 68 lawyers on the other side for the tobacco industry, and we had 3 lawyers on our side. So I know what it feels like to go into court against all odds. Even the governor of my state filed a lawsuit with the tobacco companies against me to stop me. Well, determination and a lot of help from all the attorneys general in this country resulted in about a $250 billion settlement for all the states. I tell you that story to tell you how important it is for us to be here today talking about prepaid legal services, because it's important that people have access to the courts, whether it's a big case or your case that may not be so big, but is just as important to you. A legal situation doesn't always mean you're going to court. The truth is, things happen every day in our lives which could be classified as legal events. Lease agreements, large purchases, needing a living will, and having an appliance warranty denied are just a few examples. We've been conditioned by a society rich in lawsuits and legal expenses to accept minor injustices. It's not right, but that's life for most of us.
Well, a fundamental underpinning in our nation is the justice system. It's the framework that really holds everything together. And it's not going to work unless all citizens feel that they have access to it. That's the only way our country will prosper and will survive, really. So all groups need to be afforded a way to have access to the justice system, and if they don't, why, the country will be weakened because of it. Prepaid legal, through this mechanism that has been developed, is they're making legal representation possible for persons of moderate...
We make someday, we said, you know, someday we'll be sick, and someday we'll need a filling, and someday our kids will wreck our car, and or maybe we'll do it ourselves, and someday we may be sued, or someday we may need to sue somebody that has hurt us. And so what Harlan did is he said, you know, people believe in putting a few dollars down on a regular basis so that they're covered when things happen, and he was able to aggregate a lot of that together, and good lawyers who would work at a good rate because of the broad coverage that they were able to get. And I think it's been a great American success story.
You need good, affordable legal representation. And Harlan Stonecipher, who was just a visionary, saw this for all communities. And it certainly has action in the African-American community to help. You got people who have bad records, people who have trouble can now call prepaid legal and get good representation and deal with charges that aren't supposed to be on their side, for realtors who have messed you around, for dry cleaners who have overcharged you or lost your clothes. All of these items which are necessary to the quality of life, prepaid legal has an answer for. And I think that's the beauty of it. So when I studied prepaid legal and looked at it and saw the worth of it, I said, this is good. This is something that the National Black Chamber of Commerce should support. And we certainly do.
We've discovered that most people who do not have access to legal counsel will simply accept their circumstances and go on. When the credit card company charges unfair fees, when your cell phone service provider is unreasonable, or when an invoice is higher than quoted, what can we do but pay and go on? You see, It's not about whether you absolutely have to have an attorney in some cases. It's about whether having an attorney could make a difference.
I think a lot of people, when they hear about prepaid legal, they think maybe it's too good to be true. They read articles in the Wall Street Journal saying lawyers are now charging $1,000 an hour, and they have a hard time believing that for not very much money a month they can have access to really good lawyers. Doesn't seem to make sense. There must be some sort of catch. But there really is no catch. You've got just an army of great lawyers out there.
The network of provider attorneys across North America are the best law firms available anytime, anywhere for anybody. I'm very proud of the network of provider attorneys that we've put together for prepaid legal. My own law firm, I believe it's the best law firm in the state of Oklahoma. And I think all the provider attorneys feel that way about their state and their provinces, that they're the best law firm in their state, in their province. They're quality-conscious, service-oriented law firms. They're user-friendly. They're law firms that have learned to call the member back, help the member with preventive law, help them stay out of trouble before they ever get into trouble. The idea of prepaid legal services making our kinds of law firms, I think very unique and good law firms, available to all the people across this country at a very reasonable rate per month, is the best thing that's happened to the delivery of legal services, both criminal and civil, in the history of the justice system.
I believe in terms of the attitude of the American people with respect to the operation of our justice system, the denial of access is something which is very counterproductive, in the sense that people feel not empowered, but quite the contrary, powerless when faced with those circumstances. And prepaid provides them with a mechanism to gain control over their own lives.
The courtroom doors where I spend most of my time are really not open to average people. It just costs too much money for most people. So when I see an opportunity to have average working people be given the opportunity for not very much money to have high-quality lawyers represent them, I think it's a pretty great thing. It's exciting.
I'm Harry Alford, President and CEO of the National Black Chamber of Commerce, and my duty is to ensure that African American communities are as economically viable as any other community in this great nation of ours. However, there are challenges and there are problems, and one of the big problems is adequate legal representation. Good lawyers, good attorneys to protect businesses, to protect consumers, to protect citizens from incarceration, from legal battles, from financial ruin, and to ensure that the field is level at all times. There is no other place where legal representation means so much than just the daily living of the United States of America. I have seen many people get ruined, be abused, be pushed around because they had poor attorneys or could not afford a good attorney. Prepaid legal services is an answer to that. Good legal representation at a very affordable price. That's the key. That's the key to the quality of life. That's the key to protecting your children, to protecting your home, your assets, and guaranteeing yourself a future. Prepaid legal services. Consider that.
The reality is, life's not fair. Not everyone is honest, and bad things happen. But when they do, don't face them alone. Whether it's a simple conflict with an auto repair, a faulty product, or helping you deal with the tragedy of identity theft. With a legal service plan and identity theft coverage, you'll have power, confidence, and peace of mind. Access to the system is the key. That's why wealthy people are willing to pay a lot of money to have it. Justice for all can and should be a reality for all. Prepaid Legal Services Life Events Legal Plan can help that happen at a price you can afford for you and your family.